Now here's a help for Mini-Tab 2. So we're going to look at quantitative data, and we're going to do descriptive statistics, and we're going to look at how we would do histograms and maybe some other plots. Since you're using Citrix, you'd have to copy the data from the Excel file. So you just copy it and put it into your Mini-Tab. So in the first column, I just paste what I just copied. Now if I'm doing descriptive statistics, I go into Stat, Basic Statistics, and I want to display some descriptive statistics. So I have to let Mini-Tab know which column, which variable I want to do the descriptive statistics on. And luckily I only have one column, so I make sure my cursor is blinking. I go over to where all the columns are that have data. Well, there's only one, and I can double left click on it, or I can left click on it and hit select, and it will bring it over to variables. Now it's time. I don't want to go to Mini-Tab's default. I want to pick the statistics that I want, so I go to statistics. So let's say that I want to see the mean. I don't want to see the standard error of the mean. I do want to see the calculation of variance. I want to see the min and max. I don't want to see n non-missing and n missing. I want to see n total. I want to see the first quartile, the median, the third quartile, and my interquartile range. So now I've picked which statistics I'd like to see. And now I hit OK. And there I have what I need, and I can copy and paste this and put this into a Word document, or into the Word document that I'm doing my Mini-Tab assignment on, or if I was doing a PowerPoint, anything like that. Now we're going to do a histogram, so we want to see a graphic. So I go into Graph, I go into Histogram. I want a simple histogram because I only have one variable. And again, graph the variable, I can double left click onto weight, so I double left click and it brings it in there. That's another way to bring it in there. And I'm going to just do Mini-Tab's default, so I hit OK. Now I want to edit this graph because I've got some problems with it. So when I want to work on this, I double left click into my graph, and I have my histogram. I want to first change the title. As I said, you'll get points off for not making a good title. We don't want the default. So we'd say distribution of weight for sample of 53 adult males. Also, when you're dealing with quantitative data, if there are units, we need to put those in. So we want to go to this label down here, left click on it, and let whoever's viewing the graph know that that was in pounds. Now, if you're asked for a specific number of bins, so I'm going to look at the number of bins. How do I get that? I need to go along the x-axis. So I touch the x-axis and I double left click on it. And I'll get editing for my x-axis. The first thing I want to do is go into binning. I would like not 9 bins, but I want, let's say 5. So with 5 bins, I'm not seeing a really good graph in here. So better for me maybe to do a couple more bins. So let's say 6. So let's say that you were asked to do 6 bins. I hit OK, and I put my graph in. Now with this, what I'd like to do is I don't want my tick marks for continuous data to be in the midpoints, so I need to change that. So once again, I go into binning and I say, hey, I want it at the cut points. I hit OK, and now I have binning at the cut points. Makes the graph look a little different. So I want you to note, when you're doing histograms, you can actually change the way the graph looks depending on your binning. So that's why histograms are good for a first look, but when we do real data analysis, there are other things we need to do to get an idea of what's going on with the distribution. Now, I'm okay with the endpoints being like that. If I wanted those changed, I would have to change them when I went into the binning. I'd have to change these numbers, but I'm happy with them, so I'll leave it like that. Other things that I can do, I can make it easier on the person looking at my graph. If I right click and I add, let's say data labels on each of the histograms, each of the bars in my histogram, so I can see how many people were between 90 up to but not including 120 pounds, 120 pounds up to including 150, 120 not including 150 pounds. There were 14 of the 53 male adults that were of that weight. Now what if I wanted a relative frequency? Well, I could do 14 divide it by 53 and get the relative frequency, but I can let Minitab do that for me by clicking on the y-axis and saying what type of graph would I like. I could change it from being a relative frequency to I could change it from being a frequency histogram to a relative frequency histogram. And there I see the percents. So I can see the exact percents for each of the different weight ranges. So that's how I could do a histogram. Now once I get the histogram, next we're going to look at how to make a contingency table. So if I want to look at the gender and whether or not they have a car, I could do that. I go into stats, I go into tables, and I do a chi-square test, chi-square tabulation, chi-square. So for my rows I can pick the gender. For the columns I'm going to pick whether or not they have a car. Hit OK, and I now have a table I can use. So for female, 8 don't have a car, 12 do, there's 20 in all. The males, 12 don't have a car, 14 do, and there are 26 males, so altogether we had 46 in our sample. And we now have a table that we could ask for information. And that's how you do cross-tabulation. Hope this helps. Thanks so much for watching.